Hello everyone, myself Harsha Prahlad Paton from Rajiv Gandhi Medical College and Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Hospital, Thane. So today I am dealing with a very interesting topic, middle ear, which is also called as a tympanic cavity or tympanum. So let's go. So this is a box which resembles the middle ear. So the middle ear is shaped like a cube. Its lateral and the medial wall are large, but the other walls are narrow, as the cube is compressed from side to side. So we have a lateral wall, which is also called as a membranous wall. So because it have a tympanic membrane. Then we have a medial wall which separate the middle ear from the internal ear. Then we have a roof, which is also called as a tegmental wall. It is formed by a thin plate of a bone called as tegmen tympani. It separates the tympanic cavity from the middle cranial fossa. Then we have a posterior wall, which is also called as mastoid wall. Then at the floor, which separate the middle ear from the superior bulb of internal jugular vein. Then we have an anterior wall, which separate the middle ear from the internal carotid artery. So this is how the middle ear actually is. Middle ear, tympanic cavity or tympanum. It has a weightage of an LAQ question in exam. Location, the middle ear is a narrow air-filled space situated in the petrous part of the temporal bone between the external and the internal ear. This is how we can see in a diagram. So middle ear, which is between the external ear and the internal ear. Size and shape. Middle ear is a shape like a cube compressed from side to side. In coronal section, it resembles a biconcave disc like a red blood cell. It has a measurement of, in a vertical diameter, it is 15 millimeter. Then anteroposterior diameter is 15 millimeter. And in the transverse diameter, at the roof is 6 millimeter, in the center is 2 millimeter, and at the floor is 4 millimeter. Communication. Middle ear communicates anteriorly with nasopharynx through the pharyngeotympanic membrane tube, and posteriorly with mastoid antrum and mastoid air cell through adductus to antrum called as adductus ad antrum. So the middle ear is like a pistol in the sloping course of the adductus to the epitympanic recess and the auditory tube. The trigger of pistol is a tympanic cavity. Outlet is auditory tube and the handle is adductus to mastoid antrum and mastoid air cell. Subdivisions of the middle ear. So the tympanic cavity extends much beyond the limits of tympanic membrane, which forms its lateral boundary. It is divided into three parts: epitympanum, mesotympanum, and hypotympanum. Epitympanum, a part above the tympanic membrane, containing the head of malleus body and short process of incus. Then we have a mesotympanum, a part opposite to the tympanic membrane, containing the handle of malleus, long process of incus, stapes. It is the narrowest part of the middle ear. Then we have a hypotympanum, a part below the tympanic membrane. Contents of the middle ear. Inside the mucous lining and outside the mucous lining. Inside the mucous lining we have air, and outside the mucous lining there are three small bones called as ear ossicles: malleus, incus, and stapes. Two muscles, tensor tympani and stapedius. Two nerves, chorda tympani and tympanic plexus, and the vessels supplying and draining the middle ear, and the ligaments of the ear ossicle. Then we will see the boundaries. In the boundaries we have roof or tegmental wall, which is formed by a thin plate of bone called as tegmen tympani. It separates the tympanic cavity from the middle cranial fossa. The tegmen tympani also extends posteriorly to form the roof of adductus ad antrum. In the floor or jugular wall, which is formed by a thin plate of bone which separates the middle ear from the superior bulb of the internal jugular vein. This plate is a part of temporal bone. Near the medial wall, the floor presents the tympanic canaliculus, which transmit the tympanic branch of the glossopharyngeal nerve to the medial wall of the middle ear. Then we have an anterior or carotid wall, which is formed by a thin plate of bone. In the lower part, it separates the cavity from internal carotid artery. And in the upper part of the anterior wall, presents a two opening or canals. The upper one for the tensor tympanic muscle and the lower one for the auditory tube. The bony partition between the two canals extends backward along the medial wall in the tympanic cavity as a curved lamina called as processus cochleariformis. Then we have posterior or mastoid wall. The features are from above downwards. Number one is superiorly there is an opening or auditors through which the epitympanic recess communicates with the mastoid or tympanic antrum. Then we have a fossa incudis, is a depression which lodges the short process of the incus. Then we have a conical projection called as pyramid, lies near the junction of the posterior and the medial wall. It has an opening at its apex for the passage of the tendon of the stapedius muscle. Lateral to pyramid and near the posterior edge of the tympanic membrane is the posterior canaliculus for the chorda tympani through which the nerve enters the middle ear cavity. Then we have a lateral or membranous wall. Most of the lateral wall is formed by a tympanic membrane which separates the tympanic cavity from the external auditory meatus. The chorda tympani nerve, a branch of facial nerve, passes across the tympanic membrane, laying lateral to the long process of the incus and medial to the handle of the malleus. Medial or labyrinthine wall. The medial wall separates the middle ear from the internal ear. It presents the following features. Number one, the promontory is rounded bulging produced by the first turn of the cochlea and it is grooved by the tympanic plexus. The fenestra vestibuli is an oval opening posterior-superior to the promontory. It leads into the vestibuli of the internal ear is closed by the foot plate of the steps. The fenestra cochlea. Then the prominence of the facial canal. Then the prominence of the lateral semicircular canal above the facial canal. Then the sinus tympani is a depression behind the promontory, opposite the ampulla of the posterior semicircular canal. Let's move on ear ossicles, in which we have malleus, incus and stapes. So first of all, malleus, which resembles with the hammer the largest and the most laterally placed ossicle. It has rounded head articulated posteriorly with the body of incus, provide attachment to the superior and lateral ligament. Then the neck is related medially to the chorda tympani nerve. Then the anterior process is connected to the petrotympanic fissures by anterior ligament. Then the lateral process projects from upper end of the handle and provide attachment to the malleolar fold. Then the handle is attached to the upper half of the tympanic membrane. Then we have an incus or anvil, which resembles with the anvil. It has a body, is large and bears articular surface which articulates with the head of malleus. Long process tip bears lentiform nodule directed medially which articulates with the head of stapes. Then stapes which resembles with stirrup, which is the smallest and most medially placed ossicle of ear. It has a head articulate with the lentiform nodules of incus. Neck provides insertion posteriorly to the thin tendon of stapedius and the two limbs, anterior and posterior limbs. Footplate, footpiece or the base fits into the fenestra vestibuli. So this is how the malleus, incus and stapes are. Muscles of the middle ear. In the muscles, we have tensor tympani and stapedius. The tensor tympani have a origin, cartilaginous part of the auditory tube and a sulcus tubule. Insertion, medial aspect of the upper end of handle of malleus. Nerve supply of mandibular nerve and the actions are tenses the tympanic membrane. Then we have stapedius, interior of hollow pyramidal eminence on the posterior wall of the tympanic cavity. Insertion at the posterior aspect of the neck of stapes and nerve supply of facial nerve. Actions, draws the stape laterally, thus tilting its footplate in the oval window. Then we will see the arterial supply. The main arteries are first anterior tympanic branch of maxillary artery, then posterior tympanic branch of stylomastoid branch of posterior auricular artery, petrosal and superior tympanic branch of middle meningeal artery, branches of ascending pharyngeal artery, and tympanic branches of internal carotid artery. In the venous drainage, we have veins from the middle ear drain into the superior pectoral sinus and the pterygoid plexus of the veins. The lymphatic drainage, lymphatic passes to the preauricular and retropharyngeal lymph node. In the nerve supply, The nerve supply is derived from the tympanic plexus, which is formed by the tympanic branch of the glossopharyngeal nerve. Its fibers are distributed to the mucous membrane of the middle ear, auditory tube, mastoid antrum, and ear cells. Superior and inferior corticotympanic nerves arises from the sympathetic plexus around the internal carotid artery. Functions of the middle ear. Number 1. It transmits the sound waves from external ear to internal ear to the chain of ossicles and thus transform air-borne vibration from the tympanic membrane to liquid-borne vibrations in internal ear. The intensity of the sound waves is increased 10 times by ossicle. It may be noted that frequency of sound does not change. Then we have a tympanic or mastoid antrum, which is a large air-containing space in the upper part of the mastoid process. It communicates anteriorly with tympanic cavity through auditus ad antrum, and its roof is formed by tegment antri, which is backward continuation of tegment tympani. It separates the antrum from middle cranial fossa, the lateral wall of the antrum, which is formed by the plate of bone, which is an average 1.5 cm thick in adult. It is marked on the surface of mastoid by suprameatal triangle, which is also called McEwan's triangle. The floor of antrum receives the opening of mastoid ear cell. Its posterior wall is related to the sigmoid sinus, whereas its medial wall presents bulging of the lateral semicircular canal. Then in the clinical correlations, we will see first the infection of the middle ear, which is also called as otitis media, then hyperacusis, otosclerosis, referred pain of the ear, its mastoid, and the last is the mastoid abscess. Then how the development of the middle ear occurs. The auditory tube and the middle ear develops from the endodermal tubotympanic recess. Mastoid antrum develops as an extension of the middle ear cavity into the mastoid process. The malleus and incus develop from the mesoderm of the first arch. Stapes develop from the mesoderm of the second arch, except its foot plate and the annular ligament, which develops from otic capsule. Thank you.